All right. Well, hey there. Welcome. I'm Jennie Wallach with the Wallach Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Today I'm going to talk about one of my most favorite topics of all time mastery with the 411. Now, what we're going to talk about are just ways that you can unlock your productivity potential when it comes to using this very valuable tool. Now, it really originated from the teachings of Keller Williams Realty. Of course, anyone can use this tool. But what we talk about and train on, whether it's in the One Thing book or Quantum Leap, the material is all about having success principles and tools that help you helps make things a little bit easier for you and gives you more clarity and focus so you're not wasting time figuring out what you should be working on or moving from one task to another. So this is what we're going to talk about today. I can't wait to share with you. Now, the truth is this. If you waste your time, you waste your life. If you master your time, become a master of your time, then you could really master your life, or at least the activities that are purposeful inside of your day, inside of your week and your month and your year, so that when you look back on your life, you will have felt like it was a productive and positive one. Now, the truth is that time waits for no one. This, unfortunately, is the reality for us. We don't know when our last day on this earth may be. And so, are we being intentional with the precious time that we do have? I love the story in the One Thing book, and we teach it in Quantum Leap as well. It's just the reminder that we don't know when our last day may be on this earth. So why are we waiting to live our best life? Why not instead continue to learn, to earn, and to have some fun all through our lives so that, again, when we get to the end, we look back and go, man, that was awesome, rather than, dang, I wish I had spent more time with the people I love and doing the things that I enjoy. I have been reading this book called Essentialism, and the author says, at the end of your life and on your tombstone, you don't want it to say, she checked email, right? Like, we really want it to be a purposeful and productive life for ourselves and our families. Now, the truth is that we have to focus on what matters most. A lot of these are going to be uh, examples of and tools that you've heard of before. This is the 80/20 principle, which is a truth. It is a proven and scientifically proven uh, truth that there is a pattern of predictable imbalance in life. Now, in real estate, I'm speaking to you as real estate agents because that's most likely what you are, or you're in the real estate industry. We know what the most important activities are for us every day. No matter what, you know what they are. Probably number one should be connecting with people, talking to people. If we don't have people to help, we don't have a business. Everything starts with leads and referrals and conversations. And so the truth is are you very clear about what matters most in your business and in your day so that at the end of each day you can say, man, I did my job today because I checked off those few things that are the most important things that I make sure I do each day. Now, you've probably heard of this big rock analogy. I love it. I think it just makes so much sense. I've seen it in real life, if you've ever seen it, where someone has done the real example of having a big glass jar and they've got on the table some really big rocks, then some pebbles and some sand and some water. And the truth is that to get all of those things inside of that jar, there is an appropriate order for doing this. The big rocks must go in first. Then the pebbles, then the sand, then you put in the water. And it's a really cool visual of what your day should look like. So, what does matter most? And have you weighed in and made sure that you've added in your interests and your passions and your responsibilities to get very clear on your big rocks? I've also been told that if you think of it like each rock has a dollar amount attached to it. Now, we're in sales. So, if you have a lead generation rock, big rock of a thing you must do each day, that has the most amount of dollars attached to it. You doing or not doing that activity determines your success. So, talking and connecting with people should be one of your big rocks of your day, every day in some fashion. Oh, I went all the way to the end because I clicked at the way bottom. So let's not do that. I'm going to click here instead. All right. Now, I added this in just now. It's not in your workbook, but you guys can jot this down. You probably have heard or remember hearing about the job description of a real estate agent. So, if I'm going to be speaking to you the truth that you need to hear today about your success in this sales business called real estate, that's what you're in. Sorry, it's true. You are in a business of helping people buy or sell homes, then you should have time blocked on your calendar these 5 job descriptions that you've heard before, most likely. It's called lead generate, lead follow up, negotiate your contracts. That's where you're going to help people get into terms of taking a listing or a pending under contract property. You have to understand and negotiate contracts for your people. You got to go on the appointments in order to meet with them. And then, of course, always continuing to practice your skills and role play. After 24 years in this business, I'm still learning and relearning how to best talk to people or have conversations with the new contracts or terms or how we are going to work together. It's a never-ending process. You don't get to day, now I've arrived and I know everything. It's an ongoing learning challenge and process for us. Now, and answer this in your own mind right now, are you time blocked on your calendar with each of those each day? You may not have appointments to go on today, but do you have a time spot that is blocked if one did occur, if one did pop up through your lead generation efforts? That's what I used to do for my business. My daughter was little, and now she's bigger and driving herself, but I always knew that I wanted to make sure and pick her up every day after school, and that was a time block. It was a family time block. So I knew if I were to have a daytime appointment during the week, it needed to be in very strategic spots. So go ahead and put that there as a placeholder for that opportunity. But guess what? If an appointment does not pop into that appointment time block, what do you get to keep doing? Lead generating or following up or going out on a coffee date or networking. You're going to continue to work. You're not like set off the hook for not because you didn't set an appointment. No, you need to be finding an appointment to actually set. Now, the other thing that I added here is that along with this job description, do you also have blocked in your morning routine the MREA energy plan? So this would be, if you remember, it's on page 308. My book's on the floor. Page 308 of the MREA book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. You'll find the job or the energy plan, and that would be the thinking and the planning and the prayer or meditation, what you do in the morning, your spiritual time and your physical health, taking care of yourself, feeding yourself a healthy breakfast, exercising and getting energy that way, and loving and kissing and being with those you love and care about the most, and then getting right into work of lead generating and planning for your busy, productive day. So when I built out on my calendar, on my phone, those are all time blocks, they get done. It's now a habit. I don't have to remind myself of the morning routine, but it is a very solid morning routine, nonstop, every day, consistent, that it feels weird. Like I've been not feeling great and a little under the weather. And so I haven't been doing my normal full routine, but still a portion of it. And it feels weird when you're not able to do that. But the cool thing is you can get right back into it pretty quick. Now, when we're thinking about our 411, and I'm going to get to the specifics of exactly what it means here in a second, we do, though, want to have goals that are smart. Even my high school daughter has been taught about SMART goals, so I'm sure you've heard of them. But why they matter so much is because sometimes we have a goal and it's not specific or measurable, attainable, it can't even be done, or it's not realistic in being achieved or relevant. And then or it's not even timely. The time bound part is really super important as well. So these are things to always use as a little check off inside of your goal planning and your goal setting to always have a SMART goal. This comes into play with the 411. Now, here is exactly what a 411 is all about. It's kind of backwards because if you're looking at what a printout of a 411 looks like, and you guys are going to get a blank template of this example here, the one, the first one is the year at the top. And the year at the top is going to be your annual goals. So in 1 year's time, so that's the time bound part, it's within the 1 year time. And they're going to remember be SMART. Now, I'm going to go into some different ideas and examples for you to think about. But so the 1 year is at the top, in the middle is the month that you're working on. And then each at the bottom are 4 weeks. Mostly there's 4 weeks in a month. So 4 weeks feed up to your 1 month that feeds up to your 1 year. If you were going old school style and you printed off your 411, again, you're going to get a couple different templates in your resources folder. If you did old school, what would that mean? That would mean that you'd have 12 pieces of paper at the end of the year. Now you don't pre-fill out all of the months into, the future months. You don't fill all of that out yet. You can have what the goal was, but you're not going to fill out the actual results until you get there, which is kind of the point of doing 1 month at a time. And so now what I do is in my 411 at the top, I have it built. This is my actual 411. At the top, I have it built of my annual goals, and I have what the metric should be for the monthly goals. And then beside it, I have the goal and then the goal and the actual. So I can always see where am I in relation to what I said I would do or what I intended to do. Now, with the weeks down below, these are seriously, they are not a to-do list. They are your must-do list to move your business forward. These are what gave me clarity and release and relief at one point was when my coach helped me work through those tasks in the weekly category are just 3 to 5 big things that must be done that week to move your life or your business forward. Now, the other thing is that I make sure that my 411 not only has professional goals, which you'll see whenever you see a template, it'll usually say business on the top left, and then on the top right would be more personal. Now, mine nowadays, I even have a third category that's called wealth or wealth building so that I can continue to grow in that area too, because that's important to me. But so we will have a 411 for your annual goals, personal and professional goals, and you can always utilize, and this is my favorite tip, and I share it in the GPS class too, because that's where you should really start is have done the GPS exercise first. But if you go to page 114, I didn't put it in here, but you've probably seen it before. In page 114 of the one thing, you can see the 7 circles. These are just, again, placeholders for different areas of your life. You don't have to use all of them, but it's a really great reminder that you're a whole person. So you want to have goals in your personal life and in your professional life. And so that is a good tip for you guys to think about as well. Now, when it comes to creating your 411, we're going to think first about your annual goals. We just talked about this. What are some big, big rocks? So, as a real estate agent, depending on what your role is in your business, it may be that you're a solo agent. You are 100% responsible for all production. So, your big rocks could be things like that you are making the number of contacts that are needed for the annual plan or setting the number of appointments that are needed to achieve the annual plan of the goal. Now, a tip is, and this goes back to the GPS class, is that in the GPS class, I walk you through using the economic model, which is a tool from MREA, that we would then say, here's my goal. And based on this number of families served and the dollars that I need to earn, this is how many contacts I need to make, appointments I need to set, listings I need to take, and closings that I need to have. And so when you have those numbers, that becomes your goals that you track. It doesn't have to be so big and broad. You can go really narrow, and you would just do the math for the whole year. And then guess what? You would chunk it down into your monthly goal. If your goal was 150 families served, I have it right here on mine, for example. So I have 150 families served for our annual goal. And then I go down to my month, and that's just on the same line. I divide it by 12 months. Well, that means I need to have 13 closings a month. Now it's really 12.5, but we can't sell half of a house. So I would rather round up so that I actually help more families than what the goal was. So breaking these down, and it just becomes a mathematical equation. And this is why it's great to have metrics that are a number or measurable, because then it makes it easier for you. Because then if you take it all the way down to the month, you need 13 closings in a month. And if you were looking at it per week divided by 4, that means you need to be having at least 3 to 4 closings each week to be on track for that goal. Now, those might not be your numbers, but you can just imagine doing your own details and data that help you figure out what yours looks like. Now, whenever we then get to the weekly goals, these are just my tips that I already shared. Be very, very specific. You're only going to fill out, if we are in the January, a brand new year, the first week of January, you're only filling out the weekly metrics and numbers of what you actually achieve that week. Because if you get behind on something, like your goal is to set 2 appointments a week and you only set 1 appointment, well, that means next week you need 3 appointments to get back on track. So you see how it just is always going to carry over. And then when you get to the end of the month, you're going to fill up the numbers to see how you're doing in relation to the monthly goal, and then you tally it up to the top of the annual goal. So I can always see if our goal was 150 units for the year, and currently we're at 34 closed and pending. I'm always able to measure where we are and what do you do with that information. You may need to up your game, talk to more people, get into activities, whatever that looks like for you. So, really asking yourself, what is it that I want to achieve this year, personally and professionally? And then when are we going to do that? Now, the other thing about creating a 411 for you, the point is that this stretches you. The point is that you are growing. Yes, of course, you're going to show up and do the activities depending on what goal you set. So you can see here that if you set a big goal in that right corner there of the pie chart, if you set a big goal and you have specific metrics of how you're going to achieve it, the likelihood is that you're aiming higher, and even if you miss or fall a little short, you're still going to get well exceed what you would have if you set a small goal. So that's your reminder there. Like, here's an example of it. So when you're asking yourself about goal setting, you could just start with, what could I do? And in number 4, you could say, what could I do to increase my sales this year by 5%? I mean, that's all right. It's specific, but it's pretty small, isn't it? I mean, don't we want to aim high, at least within reason, of course, but to push ourselves a bit? Or number 3 would be, what could I do to increase sales? Well, that's very broad. You're definitely not having a metric, something you can measure. And so, how are you going to know if you have succeeded or not? That's why I was saying you really want metrics that are numbers based in some fashion, if possible, so that you can see. If you just say, I'm going to increase sales. Okay, so is one more sale an increase? Yeah. Is that what you were really wanting? Probably not. So you have to be very clear. And then number two would be what could I do to double sales? Well, it's big, but it's broad. And is it realistic? We run all these back through that SMART filter as well. Okay, this is what a template really looks like. So I was kind of walking you through if you are creating your annual plan for your 411. I like doing it first just as a brain dump and play with it so that I mean, use pencil or erasable pen like me because I want you to get comfortable with the process and knowing that it's okay to not have it perfect. This is just an example of my template. I've taken out all of the details just so you don't get bothered by that. But this is my template that I use. And you can see at the bottom all of the different months. Now, you wouldn't really fill all of the months out yet because what I do is I do January. I have all of the metrics set here at the top of what the goals are. And then I build it out each week. And then what I do, honestly, is I just copy and then paste it to the next month. And then I just delete out what the results had been so that it's really a fresh page, but I don't have to start from scratch each time. So I hope that helps in that explanation. But when it comes to just your own 411, you can have this electronic version, which I like because it's always with me and I can always be updating. You can see under my professional tasks. Now, I'm in a different role now than you may be. I still run and own the team, but I'm not necessarily in the production with the clients anymore, but I still have to oversee that we're doing what we need to be doing to be on track. So I track how many families we actually served, how many listings that we take, because we know the listing taken, whether it's a buyer or a seller, then will most likely lead to the conversion of a closing. And then we want to make sure we're delivering on our promise. This is my job. And how we do that is that we can measure how many referrals we receive, how many reviews we receive. This is just a very diluted version of mine. Mine goes a little bit deeper nowadays, but I wanted to give you some examples. Things that are important on your personal section: travel and vacations. This is mine. I love to travel. I love to teach. I love to learn and earn. So if I'm going to travel and get the opportunity to teach somewhere, I get to earn income. And then also I can take my family along with me. So it's really combining all the things I love. In my health and wellness section, I like to track my workouts. I have 260 workouts. I like to track that I at least move my body 5K a day. That's for me, it's like 6,800 steps. That I drink my water. Now I don't have to really track like I used to because I can tell, because now it's a habit and I know if I didn't drink enough water and I know if I didn't move my body enough. So those are some examples there. And then on the wealth category, this is just something I added in for myself to keep a pulse of having reserves in your personal account and your business account, and always be, for me, it was continuing to learn and grow about wealth building. I'm still a student of that. And then having it tracked on a net worth tracker. Now, for me, I would make one of these tabs here at the bottom a net worth tracker. I have an example probably in your journey with Jennie, the group, where I've shared it before. You could just copy and paste over your own spreadsheet so that you're also tracking these things. The point, though, is this is your life and your business. So you want to have these purposeful goals in your personal and your professional life that move you forward and fire you up. What will help you achieve your goals? So that is just an example of what a template looks like. I'd love for you to play with it, even if it's just a few things inside of your personal and professional goals. What's the most important activity you could track for your personal life, for your professional life, and just pull it on through? So if my most important thing is that I work out 5 days a week, whatever that is for you, whatever your number is, then you break it down what that looks like. I defined what my workouts look like. My workout is defined as a class that I take, so either hot yoga or Orange Theory, or a 2+ mile walk, usually with my husband. So those are the three things that I define as a workout. You can create your own, but the point is that you get to determine what metrics matter most to you, and then you're going to track it all the way down. And you get to the end of the week and you look back and you go, how did I do? Did I do what I needed to do? Because I'm going to fill out the 411 and I'm going to update it and update it and update it, pull it all up to the top. Now, the truth is this, that when you use that using this powerful time management tool will really help with your focus, to be honest, if you stick with it and you look at it. So don't confuse yourself because a lot of us tend to feel like we're busy, but it wasn't in any of the tasks or activities that needed to really be done, or definitely weren't a big rock. And we really have to block and protect those time periods so that those things are done. And guess what? If you do your job of those big rocks, then you can go get a mani-pedi in the afternoon and not feel bad about it. This was really hard for me in my earlier days because I just felt like I needed to keep working. Because some of us come from this corporate background or a real job situation where we sat at a desk from 9 to 5 and we're used to that. And then if the afternoon we're sitting there and we're running out of juice because we're out of, willpower because we need some energy, I didn't ever feel comfortable giving myself grace and going for a walk or getting a snack or taking a nap, whatever it looks like for you. But you get to determine your life in this business, which is super cool. And if you are time blocking your big rocks and knocking those out, then you'll be fine and you will be a success. So focusing on your big rocks and also your 20%. Now, I added this. This is not in your workbook because I just put it in our slides. I added this to my Sunday plan this year because I have different hats and buckets of business. So Jennie is a team owner and leader of the Wallet Group. And I also love to teach and train and share with real estate agents, either locally or out of town. I also I love Tulsa. So I love promoting local businesses and nonprofits and getting out and about through Tulsa Looks Good on You. And I also love to be a realtor, which I am. And so, besides just my team stuff, I want to also show that I'm educated and helping educate in the world of real estate here locally and beyond. And so, I also set a goal for myself this year to have 100 coffee dates. This isn't always coffee. Sometimes it's tea, sometimes it's lunch, sometimes it's breakfast. I just had to name it something. So it's called a coffee date. But these are the questions. And if I go into my Sunday calendar, I'll just show you at 5 o'clock on my calendar, it says questions to ask myself every Sunday to plan for the week ahead. And if I clicked into it, then I have my questions down there in the notes. Now I know what it says. And so I just know to look forward into the week and go, who am I having coffee with? What's going on in real estate this week that I need to educate my team on or the community? I need to do some social media or a video training. What am I teaching or sharing with agents? And I'm thinking through these topics. Now, you may not have as much of the content creation as I do nowadays, but you definitely still love your community and need to be a part of it. You definitely want to tour real estate, be an expert, and the economist of choice when it comes to your market. So you can ask yourself questions each week that helps you build out your purposeful and productive calendar. Because that's why we pause each week is we go, hey, how did I do the week before? Oops, I dropped the ball on some of these things. So I need to block it off now so I don't forget and I make sure it's done with my time blocked calendar. Okay, here's some reminders. Be purposeful, thoughtful, erase and replace, be diligent, and be consistent. When you are building and using this tool, with purpose and you've thought through what matters most to you and you understand that, man, it's really important for me to lead generate and follow up with people every day, but I had this life event happen and I cannot get to it today. It's okay. Move it somewhere else in the week that allows you to do that. Give yourself grace. Please, please, please do not beat yourself up because then you're going to be even less likely to be enthusiastic about it the next time it pops up on your calendar. Be diligent, be consistent. Consistency is always the key. So, if you were working through your own time block, you have your workbook there that allows you to time block right now. I like, especially for newer agents on our team, when they haven't been in the world of real estate, which can seem a little crazy and all over the place sometimes, I want them to have some real focus. And so, if you were to build out your ideal and awesome day, for a successful real estate agent, what would that look like? So in your workbook, take some time to jot it out and put down like, here's when I wake up, here's when I exercise, here's when, or if it's in the afternoon, you can exercise whenever you want. Here's when I have my morning smoothie. Yes, I do every day. I have a morning smoothie, but first coffee. So whatever your day looks like for you to succeed and be purposeful, you build it out and you get to control it. You own this. Then, whenever you are time blocked and people pop in out of the blue to talk about real estate, that's awesome. And you have a place to put them coming from a proactive place. I remember getting the excitement when a new lead would come in, or I'd get somebody on the phone and I'd get so excited. And then I had to remember that I needed to slow down, ask really good questions, really understand where they're coming from because my time is important and so is theirs. My family is most important. And so I needed to make sure that I was properly qualifying them, that they were a real valid opportunity, and then make the appointment based on that. So when you already have your time block calendar set of your purpose and productivity, when they do pop in, you have a place to put them. Probably not in that same day, to be honest. I found that my days are usually already packed. Today is packed. I could probably not fit somebody in. And I like to step away for a minute whenever I first talk to somebody and then, put them based on where they are in their urgency and stuff. So you get to figure out what you want yours to look like. But really, here is the deal with maximizing your productivity. You have to have productivity habits. So I added these. These were just tips that I'd learned over the years, is to have a not to-do list, right? Can you create a list? So in my early days of having a coach, I had the exercise he gave me was to have a piece of paper, and at the top left it said things I should I should not be doing, and then things I don't want to do. And so I would be marking them down as the day was going on. I was seeing these are the things that are distractions for me or that could be leveraged. So when I say, can you leverage with a person, a system, or a tool? Especially as a solo agent, when you're wearing all these hats, you know that the dollar per hour activity of you adding data to our CRM or adding a new listing to the MLS, that is a dollar productive activity that could be leveraged to another human. It could be a more efficient system or a checklist or a tool that allows you to actually save time or you not do it at all. So creating your own to-do and not to-do list will really give you clarity on where you might have some time sucks going on. And it's okay if you are your own admin for now. Just put those at a time block that is strategic. I know that we can trick ourselves into saying, I have to just do these certain things first thing in the morning. Most things could wait till 11:01. That's after you've done your lead gen, right? So think about how you can make sure to do that. Remember to just say no. No is a complete sentence. You know that this is true. Lots of us are people pleasers, and we also need to be professional. And I found that our clients respect that. So you, of course, want to understand what the request is and then be polite. And whether it's to a client, it might just be no to volunteering for something that you're not passionate about or you just really don't have time right now. I love volunteering and giving back. And I know that I don't want to fail on them. So I only say yes to that kind of activity if I truly have time to be the best that I can be. And while I'm there, meeting people, connecting with people. So making sure that you're saying yes to the most important things because when you say no, you're going to find that you have more time for the yeses in your life that are the most important people and activities that really give you joy. So if they're already blocked on your calendar, like if we went back to our personal section of our calendar, of the GP of the 411, in my personal section, I have family time inside of that, girls' night out time inside of that, you know, traveling with my family. So you will already have time blocked out these most important activities so that it's very easy to say no because the no could be, oh, thanks so much for that offer to help with that activity. And unfortunately, I just don't have time on my calendar for that right now. Nobody will be offended or upset. The thing though is all of this is great. And even I have sometimes the biggest struggle in staying on top of it. And so this is where the accountability piece does come into play. I had to say to my coach, I want you to hold me to filling this out each week, sending it to you each week. On our team, it is a standard that our agents share this 411 with us each week. I'd like it to be on Sunday evenings because that tells me that they took the time to review their goals, review their last week, and then time block their next week based on where they are. So I think it's stated that it's by Monday morning at 9 a.m. But to me, why wouldn't you just have a kind of prep for the week, hour time block on your calendar on Sundays when it's quieter and peaceful and you can really think and plan. Reporting the progress to others will really, really help you stay focused on it. And it always increases uh, your performance. But here is the other thing is sometimes we find that we get in this trap of being a victim over being accountable. And so if we think about it, you've seen this example here before where we know that an accountable person is going to take ownership. They're going to find a solution. They're going to acknowledge where they are and what's going on, and then they're going to get into action. That's what an accountable person does. A victim is going to really just blame others or other circumstances or things that came up. They're going to have personal excuses. They're just going to see if they can hope and see what happens rather than an accountable person. So you can see why this is inside of this 411 class because an accountable person like you is going to take ownership of their weekly tasks to make sure that they're staying on track for their monthly goals that help them achieve their annual plan. I made this up, totally my own little quote here, but I realized that the more I time block, the more time I actually have. So that may sound a little counterintuitive, but when my time blocks are so well blocked with purpose, now is it back to back to back to back? No, 100% no. Give yourself what we call some buffer blocks, maybe a little bit of a gap in between appointments for driving or thinking or breathing or taking a little walk. Don't do the back to back. It just does not set you up for success. You're exhausted and then you're not being the best version of yourself. But the more that I time block for purpose, the more time I may have in the afternoon to go for that walk around the block, to regenerate myself, to energize myself for even more activities to wrap up the day. And I think that's it. Yeah, that was a lot of 411ing. And so I do have a membership group for real estate agents. It is for getting this kind of stuff, but then going a little deeper, a coaching call each month, and also my paid trainings you get for free, and an awesome community of other agents. So I'd love for you to join if you're interested. And then if you aren't already in my Facebook group, I have a group with now 8,000 opt-in members inside the group where I just share tips and tricks and tools that I've learned over the years. I've had this group online for, gosh, since 2017 now. So there's a lot of content and different tools inside of there that you're always welcome to tap into as well.